You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you?
It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, February 17th. Hopefully you enjoyed the weekend. We took a little 3-day weekend as well. A lot of people had a 3-day weekend, President's Day, all of those kind of things. So no show yesterday. Back at it again today. Excited for a great busy week here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A ton to get to. And I say that every day. Every week, every day, there's a ton to get to, but this is a really fun time of year, and the shows are going to be busy. They're going to be full, and make sure you're watching. Make sure you're enjoying it. Make sure you're tuning in wherever you check out the show. If you're watching us on YouTube live, thank you for that. We appreciate that. We also have a chat going right now, so be interactive with us. All of those kind of things as we rock and roll through the week. So make sure you're subscribed as well. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do so ASAP, and tell a friend or two or 10 about what we're doing each and every weekday at 10 a.m. It's fun because we'll have some guests on, like Central DeWitt last week, or whoever it may be at the little smaller communities or farther out, and I'll get a message. They'll be like, I had no idea you were doing this. So that's the cool part, kind of building it and growing it as it goes. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us. So make sure you're checking us out at Matt Randazzo on X. You can check out the show each and every day there as well. Be interactive there as well. You can also check us out on all of your podcasting platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo and subscribe. Makes it easy. And check out the show, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, you can listen to the show each and every day as well. And I always say, and I always warn you, it's a lot easier to listen than it is to look at this. So maybe the audio form is the way to go. We're also on each and every night at 7 p.m. in Central Iowa on the WHO streaming app. We love our viewers in Central Iowa. We've gotten great feedback about that as well. So thank you guys for checking us out every single night at 7 p.m. on the WHO streaming app. We have a busy show, a lot of basketball to get to today with a little Olympic twist, and it has nothing to do with the Winter Olympics that are going on right now. We'll explain in just a second, but a lot to get to on today's show. Coming up in a matter of moments, we'll have Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report joining us, and for very good reason. The Iowa women going on the road yesterday, President's Day special, 11 a.m. on Fox against Nebraska, and taking care of business in an impressive way. So the Iowa women have now won 2 straight. We'll get to more detail in a second, but Kyle Huesmann about where Iowa is with about 2 weeks left to go in the season, I believe, and then where they may get to when it comes to seeding, all of that kind of stuff, plus a little baseball as well. The Iowa baseball team done with their first weekend of the season. So a lot to get to. Kyle Huesmann coming up in a matter of moments. Also coming up a little later in hour number 1, almost into hour number 2, Kyler Owens will join us. And the Owens family, great family from Orion, known them for a very long time. Kyler, I remember Kyler when he was, well, I'm sitting, but he was a little guy. And now he's the all-time leading scorer in Orion basketball history. The track, a really good conference, still up for grabs going into some big games tonight. Orion, Riverdale, Sherrard, Mercer County. So some big games tonight, plus 1A is very competitive. So we'll talk to him about all those kind of things. But most importantly, he's the all-time leading scorer in Orion history. He did that, I believe, on Friday night. So we'll catch up with Kyler Owens coming up a little bit later on in the show. And then also really excited to catch up with Tori Thomas. Tori, a pole vaulter, professional pole vaulter from the Quad Cities. Fantastic career, high school-wise at Alleman. A championship career at Illinois, just wrapped that up recently. Now she's a pro. She's got her sights set on the Olympics. She's doing fantastic things. So we'll catch up with Tori Thomas coming up in hour number 2 of the show. It's an interview you got to check out. She's outstanding, and it's such a cool sport. And it's, I see young people, at PepsiCo at Augustana pole vaulting frequently, and I'm like, man, at what point did you decide I'm going to grab this big pole, I'm going to run as fast as I can, try to hit a hole, and fling myself over another bar? Crazy sport. Awesome. Tori is great. We'll catch up with her. And then also let you guys know how you can help on her journey to hopefully jump in the Olympics someday real soon. So all of that coming up on today's show and more. Poll question coming in a matter of moment. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it today. It's Fat Tuesday. So Ash Wednesday is tomorrow. I thought about waiting till tomorrow to do this question because me being a good little Catholic boy, I got to have fish tomorrow. So I think I'm going to do it today in order to be prepared for tomorrow and Friday. But where's the best fish sandwich fast food wise in the Quad Cities? I'll put some choices up there. I'll put 4 of them. I know Culver's is really good. Arby's is really good. I've heard. I don't know if I've done Culver's. I might not have. I've done Arby's. It's good. I hear Wendy's is good. You got McDonald's, the old filet of fish. So weird poll question, but help me out with Lent starting tomorrow. Not to get too religious. Where's the best fish sandwich in the Quad Cities? If I'm missing one, put it in the comments below. Help me out. It's weird. I don't like fish. Not that I don't like it. I don't eat fish most of the year until Lent gets here. And for some reason, I'm driving around yesterday and I'm going past like the fast food restaurants going, oh, because they're advertising their fish. And I'm like, that tastes good. Sounds good. I'm going to have that. So I'll be going to Long John Silver's after the show on Friday. I only eat at Long John Silver's one time the entire year. And not because it's not good, but you can't look like this by eating Long John Silver's all the time. I'm just kidding. So I don't go often, but it's my tradition Friday of first Friday of Lent, meet some buddies back at WQAD. We used to do it. We're going to continue to do it. So, all right, enough of my food habits. Some stuff going on in the world of sports. Yesterday, big Iowa victory, women's wise at Nebraska. Avon Hayden was awesome, 27-11. They've won 2 straight. It really solidifies what they want to be when it comes to seeding wise and all of those kind of things. A top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Kyle Huesmann right around the corner. Big Monday last night in the Hilton Coliseum, and the Cyclones deliver. They knock off number 2 Houston 70-67. Nate Heisey hitting a 3-pointer in the final minute to give Iowa State the lead. They finished the game on a 17-4 run. And I've read somewhere, we got to get this right because I read too much and then I talk on the show and sometimes I misquote. I'll find it out soon. Jake Brend will be on tomorrow, but I think TJ Otzelberger is 5-3 all time against top 1 or 2 ranked teams, which is wild. But that's what they do last night. They beat a number 2 team. They beat Kansas, number 8 Kansas on Saturday. So that's 2 huge victories in the span of 3 days. And that's coming off losing at TCU last week. So Jake Brend tomorrow on the show, our normal Wednesday with Jake Brend. We'll talk all about Iowa State, but the Cyclones, 2 huge victories. And I'm telling you, and we're going to talk about Illinois in a second. There's 2 teams in our area when it comes to the Quad Cities and beyond that can be playing in the Elite 8 and the Final 4 because Illinois is the same way. They just are. And that's an Iowa fan telling you that. So speaking of Illinois, let's do Iowa real quick. They play tonight against Nebraska. It's a big game tonight. They disappointed in a big time way on Saturday. That was the hype going into the weekend. It was Iowa State and Kansas, and it was Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa, Purdue. Could they all take care of business? 2 of the 3 did. Iowa didn't, and they laid a dud in front of a sellout crowd. An opportunity marketing wise and resume wise, and they fell behind early. They lose by 21. It felt like more than 21. And so they're back at it tonight against Nebraska. And Iowa, I think they're okay. I really do. And we'll talk more about this with Tom Kakert later in the week. Also, Tommy and I did a podcast, the Hawkeye Report podcast recently. We talked more about it, but I do think they'll be okay. They probably got to go 2-4 the rest of the way, but they need a signature victory. It'd make life a lot easier if they could get Nebraska or Nebraska at Nebraska, Michigan's in it comes Iowa. They go to Wisconsin. One of those 4 games would be really nice. Tonight, they get a good opportunity against Nebraska. Price Stanford coming to town. 8 p.m. start, Carver Hawkeye Arena. We'll talk all about it tomorrow, but a big game for the Hawkeyes against Purdue. Against Nebraska. Also tonight, Aaron White back at Carver Hawkeye Arena. One of my favorite Hawkeyes of all time. For the first time since he quit playing. or not quit playing, but graduated. He's been playing professionally. I think he's in Japan now, loves it. We're going to have Aaron White on later this week after his homecoming to Carver Hawkeye tonight. Illinois, we mentioned, hammering Indiana this past weekend by 20. Interesting week for them. They go to USC on Wednesday, 9 p.m. start, and then they go to UCLA on Saturday, Fox, 7 p.m. The West Coast is tough. Iowa went out there. They went out Northwest. They took care of business. The better teams are in California. Tougher teams, more talented teams. But Illinois played great the other night. See if they can get healthy a little more and see what they do this week. We'll have Jim Matson, Ked Prince, maybe something like that coming up later this week as well to talk Illini. So a ton of basketball. It's also regionals and postseason starting for the ladies, for the girls on both sides of the river. It's just a great time of year. But we're going to start. We go ladies first, and not that Kyle is a lady, but we'll be talking some Iowa women's basketball because he made the trip to Nebraska yesterday. So let's talk a little Iowa women's basketball with the busiest man in the state of Iowa, back in the state of Iowa after a Monday trip to Lincoln, Nebraska. Kyle Huesmann joins us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Kyle, how was your Monday? That's a nice President's Day.
Yeah, it was an early morning tip, so my travel was a little interesting. With I didn't stay in Lincoln; I stayed at a friend's house in Des Moines. So I had to get up early. I think I got up like 5:30 on yesterday morning to get all the way up to Lincoln, and then left after the game and came back here to Des Moines. So the travel, I mean, it's fine. It was a good, it's fine. It was on Fox, whatever. That's cool and everything. But yeah, the 11 a.m. tip was a little hard to work around. But it's fine. I mean, if that was the biggest issue of the day was getting up at 5:30 in the morning, it was a pretty good day.
Kyle, last time we talked to you, we had two big games. Iowa had two big games to get to. Washington, and then obviously coming to Nebraska on Monday. They get the job done against Washington, and then a tough morning game, weird Monday, 11 a.m. To get these two victories, and we'll get specific with Nebraska in a second. But, I mean, last time we talked, it was a 3-game losing streak, and the sky was falling, and oh no, what's going to happen? Iowa rights the ship. They've won 2 straight, and you like the way they look for the postseason. It was a big stretch for Iowa, and they've passed that stretch with flying colors, haven't they?
Yeah, and we talked about it last week before that Washington game that they just kind of needed to get that first win to get things back on track, kind of restore that order. And we had talked about, in terms of the hosting for the NCAA tournament, they had done so much work early in the year with the win over Baylor, the win over Maryland, Ohio State, Michigan State, that they kind of afforded themselves some room for error. Now, you didn't want to have a 3-game losing streak. But they kind of afforded themselves the error to have a couple of losses and still be pretty comfortable for hosting at the NCAA tournament. But then we also talked about Washington as a team that is very capable of beating Iowa. At Nebraska was obviously going to be a tough game. And then you still said Michigan and Illinois are down the road. So it felt like that Washington game was a really important one. They got that one to, like I said, kind of restore some order, get back to that winning feeling. They played a lot better defensively in that game. The first quarter was a little rocky, but they were very good defensively after that against Washington. And they go out and they beat Nebraska yesterday, and I tweeted about it. I think that nearly locked them up a spot, hosting in the NCAA tournament. I think they'd have to do something like lose to Michigan, lose to Illinois, and then probably lose in their first game at the Big Ten tournament, because you figure that even if they lost to Michigan and Illinois, as long as they beat Purdue and Wisconsin, that opponent in the Big Ten tournament would still be a pretty solid team. So even if they won a game there, that still might be enough to get them a host spot in the NCAA tournament. So I think it would take something pretty bizarre at this point. Obviously, they're not going to, the team is not going to play like they have it all locked up. But I think they've done their job to this point. They sit in a really good position now, and they also sit in a really good position for the double bye at the Big Ten tournament. Minnesota's 1 game behind them right now. They do have the tiebreaker over Iowa. But Minnesota's still got Ohio State. They still got Michigan State, and then they finish with Illinois. So they've got a tough slate to end it. So it feels like Minnesota's going to probably lose a game in there somewhere. Again, that would mean that Iowa could go 3-1 to finish and still get the double bye. Even if they would have to go 3-2, and Minnesota would have to take 2 of 3 from that tough 3-game stretch for Iowa to not get the double bye. So as much, like you said, as much as there was like that sky is falling thing from the fan base, what Iowa's done over the last 2 games to beat Washington, to beat Nebraska. Those are 2 good wins, by the way. To do that, they've set themselves up really, really well for both the Big Ten part of the postseason and then the NCAA tournament portion of the postseason.
Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report joining me right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Kyle, yesterday Iowa dominates first half, gets a very comfortable lead. And if anybody, which they should be, is reading Kyle's articles about keys to the game, this is something you may have seen coming. Iowa dominant inside. Ava Hayden was really good. Your headline from a President's Day victory over Nebraska on the road, what'd you take out of that on Monday?
Yeah, first, kind of like what you said, I mean, it's an early tip on a Monday. They kind of have to, not change their routine, but it's a little bit different. Jan mentioned that, assistant coach Abby Stamp was really adamant to the team about, I think they said they had breakfast at like 6:30 or 7 as a team. And then they go back to their room for a little bit. And the coaching staff was very adamant about don't lay down in bed. Don't like take a 20-minute nap or something like that. Now that they were up, you've got to be in your game day routine because you're doing an 11 a.m. tip. So you go back to bed, for half an hour or whatever. That kind of takes away from the point of getting up for the team meal and everything. So she felt like they handled the difference in the routine really well. And it looked like it on the court. I mean, the big thing there was, you're going into a road environment against the Nebraska team that is, they'd lost 8 of their last 12. They're trending very, very quickly to missing the NCAA tournament. Kind of a team that's in desperation mode, playing a rival. You could see the path, kind of the setup for, Nebraska comes out hot, on a early Monday morning. They knock down threes and they upset Iowa. Iowa did the perfect job of jumping out of the gates right away. They go on a 10-2 run in the first, I think, a minute 50 of the game, and Amy Williams is the one calling a timeout. Under 2 minutes in the game. And Ava Hayden mentioned after the game, a lot of times you go into a road atmosphere like that, it's the other way around. It's Iowa or the opposing team that's coming on the road that's taking the timeout early. But for Iowa to throw that first punch, Chit Chat knocks down a 3, Taylor Strimlow hits a 3, they force a timeout. That was a really good start to the game. And then again in the third quarter, like you said, they built a good lead at halftime. We're up 45-27. Nebraska did have a stretch in the third quarter. It was 51-31. They forced a couple of Iowa turnovers. They go on an 8-0 run to cut it to 51-39. It felt like Nebraska had a little bit of momentum going. Jan took a timeout to kind of slow the game down and kind of reiterate to the team that they have to stay composed, kind of stay in the moment because, Nebraska is certainly a capable team. They've got some good three-point shooters that can whittle the gap down pretty quickly. And over the next 2 minutes, Iowa goes on a 14-3 run, forces a few turnovers themselves, a couple of highlight plays in there. And then all of a sudden, like I said, 2 minutes later, Amy Williams is the one calling a timeout again. The lead's back up to 20 points. So I thought Iowa did a really good job, like I said, jumping out early in the game to throw that first punch and not let Nebraska get the early momentum. And then in the third quarter when Nebraska made a run and you knew it was going to happen at some point, that they were going to have some sort of push. Basically every team in the Big Ten, no matter how you play a game, they're going to have a push somewhere that kind of creates a little bit of adversity. And Iowa knew that was coming, especially at Nebraska. And they responded really well and put that game away. And then, the score ended up being a little bit closer than it really was. It was 80-59. And Nebraska scored the final 8 points in kind of a garbage time, situation. So Iowa was dominant. They led for double digits for, I think, just over 33 minutes. Led for over 20 for a handful of minutes as well. So really from start to finish, it was good. And as you mentioned, the stat that again, if people do read some of my pregame articles, that was something that I said, that over the 11 games after the first meeting between Iowa and Nebraska was giving up 40 points a game in the paint. Within that 4.5 foot circle around the basket, opponents were shooting 71.5%. Iowa puts up 44 in the paint. Ava Hayden was fantastic. Iowa shot 76% in the paint for the game. Wow. So that was the stat that kind of stood out there. Was the interior defense was just as bad as it looked on paper, and Iowa took advantage of it, and that was a big part of the game for them.
You look at it, Kyle. You mentioned Ava Hayden with 27 points, 11 rebounds, 12 of 15 shooting. So there's that 76 or in her case higher percent from inside. Chit Chat's been so just solid all season. For her to play the way she played was really good. Taylor Strimlow was outstanding. Obviously, Ava's going to get the headlines, but you look at Taylor Strimlow, she missed one shot all day. When she's going to make 3 threes, that's important. She had 3 steals, things like that. Can you talk about what you saw from Taylor Strimlow? And she's been that way throughout this season. Consistency is something you'd love to see, but if she's playing like that, Kyle, this is a really good basketball team.
Yeah, I really like Jan Jensen's decision to move her back in the starting lineup. No, nothing against Addie Deal. I just don't think she's quite ready for that starting role. We've seen her play really well off the bench in a couple of games, and I know she didn't play as well against Nebraska. I still think there's going to be a game or two down the stretch here, whether it's the regular season, Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, where Addie Deal is going to have a big game off the bench, and they're going to need it. But I really thought moving Taylor Stremlo back into the lineup was a really good idea. Because she had that starting experience from starting at the one when Chit Chat was out, and from starting at the off-ball guard position when Kylie was out. And Taylor had really done a good job of handling that, and she was great yesterday, particularly in the first quarter. Was 3 for 3 from three in that first quarter. Was really a big reason why they were able to build that 25-13 lead. And she finished with a career high 17 points, like you said, three steals, had 2 assists, 1 turnover in 28 and a half minutes, and for her. That's something that she's maybe struggled with a little bit, especially last year as a true freshman, a little bit this year at times. She's had turnover issues where she might play 25 minutes in a game and have 4 or 5 turnovers. And if she's going to be in the starting lineup playing 25, 30, sometimes 32 minutes in a game, that can't be a situation where she's turning over 5 or 6 times in a game with that load of minutes. And 1 turnover in 20 and a half minutes is really good, even though she did only have the 2 assists she made up for it with the scoring, obviously. And I thought Chit Chat was solid as well. She's not going to be real happy with the 5 turnovers. She had a couple of turnovers that I know were kind of uncharacteristic for her. Hit a couple of threes, finished with 7 assists still. I don't know how many of them went to Ava Hayden. I'd assume most of them. But she plays, again, almost 40 minutes. She was out for 9 seconds. So what she's been able to do to kind of almost take that Bennett Sturts role for this team and play basically every minute. She finishes with 14 points, 4 rebounds. So again, the 5 turnovers she's probably not happy with, but again, to have 7 assists was great. And then obviously Ava Hayden was fantastic. He said Taylor Stremlo in the first quarter was really good, had those 3 threes that really helped. But after that, Ava Hayden dominated the second quarter. She had 14 of the 20 points in the second quarter. And really the rest of the way was great. She matched a career high with 27. As you said, 11 rebounds, had 5 offensive rebounds, had a steal, had 3 assists. So she kind of did a little bit of everything. And that 12 of 15 was a little bit misleading. She was 12 of 14. They tagged her with a missed 3-pointer on a shot clock violation that I think if you go back and review the film, she didn't even get the shot off. I thought that was a really kind of an unfair score there by whoever does the official scoring for Nebraska. That's kind of something where I always say you should just kind of leave that off as it was maybe half a second left on the shot clock. Maybe she didn't even get it off, but they hit her with that one to hurt her field goal percentage a bit. But she was 12 of 14, but she hit a couple of those short corner jump shots. Looked really good around the basket. Had that I don't even know how you describe it, the acrobatic. Addie Deal tries to force up a late shot clock shot. I think she got it tipped. Then Ava jumps up, catches it out of the air, and finishes spinning in the air and finishes it at the basket. That was probably one of her better games of the season in terms of just start to finish. Consistency, looked really good throughout. Ended up with 3 fouls, but still was able to play 32 minutes. So foul trouble wasn't an issue. Jan was really happy with how Ava played. And we've talked a couple times this year after games where Ava's had a good game. Maybe she finished with 18, 20 points, and Jan will come into the press conference and go, I think she could have been even better. Could have been more efficient. Could have made another layup or 2. Really, Ava did have a very easy missed layup. I think in the third quarter that she got her own rebound and put it back quickly. So Ava might even tell you if she breaks down the film that she could have been 13 to 14 on those shots. But I thought she was fantastic, and that's the type of player that if she can be that consistently down the stretch, that makes them even more dangerous when you start to talk about Taylor Stremlo, the way she shot and kind of stepped up lately. And Hannah finished with 9 points and 6 rebounds, and also had 4 assists. Was kind of quiet, but still had 3 steals, kind of stuffed the stat sheet, and even though in kind of more of a overshadowed role with what Stremlo did, and obviously what Chit Chat did. And Journey Houston was good as well. She shot it well from the mid-range in a couple of shots. So you see, these are the type of games where you start to see what this team can be at times down the stretch. And you're not even talking about, like I said, like an Addie Deal who has had games where she stepped up and had 15, 20 points in a game. And Kylie Fierbach was 1 of 6. She still has the capability to knock down a couple of threes and score 8 points a game or something like that. So I think yesterday was a good showing of what this team can be. I think they're starting to get more into a groove. I think they're starting to figure out rotations, combinations that they can do without Taylor McCabe. Certainly they get Purdue coming up now, and then they get Michigan on Sunday. So I think this team's starting to trend in the right direction. I think the injury to Taylor McCabe came at kind of a tough time when they were going into some really tough games. But they've certainly figured it out now, and they're playing a lot better basketball.
Kyle, when you talked about Kylie Feuerbach and you look at her stat sheet and it's 3 points, 34 minutes. She's one of those players that people wanting changes was like, hey, change a few things. She didn't shoot it well, and that's obvious. But 5 assists, 1 turnover, and her defense is something that doesn't show up on this little sheet. It doesn't. You can't look at a box score and say she took the best player out of the lineup when it comes to Prince for Britt Prince when it comes for Nebraska. Can you talk about what you saw from Kylie Feuerbach yesterday? Because I don't think you measure it just with the box score. She was elite on the basketball once again.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's very hard to measure the defense. And first of all, I honestly, I look at the stat sheet after the game and I look at it throughout the game. Sometimes it takes me even the next day to notice something. I didn't realize she had 5 assists to 1 turnover. Again, that's something that we've talked about at times this season. She's trending. I don't know if she's close yet. I'd have to look. She's very close to probably setting a career high for assists. She's going to blow away her career best assist to turnover ratio. She's been really good in that department. Has not turned it over nearly as much this season. She's had a couple of games where she's had 3 or 4 turnovers, but for the most part has been really, really good this year in that department. Way better than she had been previously in her career, which is impressive as a 60-year player. A lot of times you don't, certain things like that, you hit that 5th or 6th year in your career, you're not going to all of a sudden be someone that doesn't turn the ball over. Like generally those things just kind of stick with you. It's something that you improve on earlier in your career. You generally don't see it late in a career just because, again, it's one of those, like, if you're a bad 3-point shooter for 4 or 5 years, you're probably not just going to become a lights out shooter in your 6th year. But Kylie has done a really good job of limiting the turnovers this season. And then certainly on the defensive end, you're right. You can't look at the box score, and the box score does not say like, 3 times Kylie played the ball screen perfectly and did not allow Britt Prince to drive to the basket. There's not a column in the stat in the box score that says that. But she did not play in that first meeting against Nebraska, and Britt Prince finished with 27 points. Really kept them in that game for quite a long time. That was the game where Nebraska actually tied with a couple minutes left. It was 70-70, and Iowa went on that 14-1 run late. But yeah, Britt Prince finishes with 13 points. She was the leading scorer for Nebraska, 4 of 8 shooting, which I guess is still 50%, but only took 1 3 and missed it. Finished with 2 assists to 5 turnovers, so that was really good as well. And Jan mentioned that in the press conference. The Nebraska really loves to run that ball screen with Britt Prince. She can shoot the 3, but she'll come off that ball screen and maybe it'll be open. Depending on how the opponent plays the ball screen, she can shoot a 3 off of it, or she can dribble drive and shoot a mid-range shot, or she can dribble drive and get to the basket. They love to run those ball screens with her, and I noticed it a couple of times. I'm not a defensive wizard or anything. I can't watch defense and understand exactly what's happening, but there were a couple of times where you could see Kylie came out to play the ball screen, and she jumped out enough that instead of Britt being able to turn that corner immediately, maybe she had to take a couple of dribbles on that 3-point line and arc her drive a little bit more. And maybe she wasn't able to drive, or maybe she was, had to pass out of that. And like I said, those are things that you can't, they don't show up in the stat sheet in terms of, it's not a steal, it's not, a block shot or something like that. But she didn't allow Britt to just get right to the basket. And on the plays that she did maybe allow her to drive a little bit, I thought the defense did a really good job of helping, and Jan mentioned that as well, to cut off some of those drives. So I thought Kylie did some of the little things to not allow Britt Prince to get going early in the game. Maybe, it could have been different if all of a sudden a couple of ball screens are played poorly and Britt knocks down a couple of 3s, and all of a sudden she's feeling it and she's going. But I never really felt like she got in a comfort zone. And obviously with the five turnovers and only attempting 1 3, did a really good job of limiting her. And that's just the thing that I get it. Fans aren't going to. I don't even notice it all the time until you see the final stat sheet and you say, so and so didn't really play that well, and a lot of that was Kylie. I know people are going to look at the 1 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3-point range, and say, she can't be out there. Like that's not not helping the team. But on the other end, what she did with Britt Prince was huge, and obviously the 5 assists to 1 turnover is great as well.
Kyle Huesmann joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. It's a busy week for Iowa, busy week for you, busy week for Iowa as well. Thursday game at Purdue, Sunday game at Michigan. I want to start with Purdue. You look at Purdue, and they're not very good. They do have a few intriguing wins on their resume, but 4-10 in the Big Ten, just 12-13 overall. It's on the road. You've done the work at this point. What's the mindset going into Thursday? It's a very winnable game. Iowa fans will look at that and say, that's a win. Iowa fans that remember that for men's basketball thought going to Maryland was a win. and that happened. How important is it to stay, especially with, like you mentioned, everything on the line? You think they look good for a hosting in the NCAA tournament. You think they look good for the double bye, but that could change with Purdue. How important is Thursday, and what's the mindset going into a trip to West Lafayette?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it doesn't. We're kind of. I mean, we're allowed to do it because we don't play. We don't coach the team, so they're not watching this and saying like, oh, we don't have to play Purdue, whatever.
That's not true. They watch the show every day.
Hopefully they don't. If they do watch the show, hopefully they don't listen to me and be like, oh, we can just look past Purdue type of thing.
Nobody
you're right.
Nobody watches. Go ahead.
They still have to whether they fly or bus to West Lafayette. They still got to get on the bus or get on the plane to West Lafayette. They still got to play 40 minutes of basketball. They still have to do that, and this is an important game because if they were to lose, that would really change things with the kind of, everything that we just talked about at the beginning of this. And Purdue did beat Washington this year in West Lafayette. They beat a Wisconsin team that's very improved this year. They put up 80 on Indiana, who I know has not been that good this year, but they've had a couple of games where they've played decently well. They've also had games that, you look at some of these scores and you say, okay, yeah, Iowa could do that. Like they lost 83-56 to Ohio State, and they lost 83-57 to UCLA. They lost 96 to UCLA. They lost to Minnesota by 33. So there's a couple in there like the Washington game or putting up 80 on Indiana. Where you say, okay, on the right night maybe they're okay. But then there's a lot of results that you go, okay, yeah, that's kind of what you expect from a team that's 4-10 in the Big Ten. But as I said, Iowa still got to go play the game and do that. Purdue has not shot it well in Big Ten play from 3-point range, and that's something that Iowa's done. That's kind of one of the stats that I have. It's not, the article's not out; it'll be later today. But Iowa's 12-0 when opponents shoot under 30% from 3-point range, and 8-5 when they shoot over 30%. Nebraska's shooting 26% in games against the Torvik top 50 teams in the country, and that's 11 games that they've played. So it's not a small sample. They have not shot it well in a large sample against some pretty quality opponents. That's kind of thing that stands out to me right now. They also foul a lot, and actually they give up a lot of shooting fouls, which is shocking. They're giving up more than a free throw per foul, which I didn't honestly know you could do. Like I was giving up like 0.7 free throws per foul. So apparently there's going to be a lot of shooting fouls, potentially if Iowa can get to the basket, and that might be good for an Ava Hayden or a Hannah Stolke if they can rack up some fouls in there. But it's certainly a game that Iowa's going to be heavily favored, and I have to pull it up here to see what Warren Nolan is saying, or Torvik. Warren Nolan has Iowa winning 81-61. So it's a game that Iowa's going to be heavily favored in. They should go win 81-61, the expectation, but they still have to go do that, right? And it doesn't matter what the paper says. And it'll be the same with Wisconsin. I know Iowa's won 31 in a row against Wisconsin, but when it gets to that point, Wisconsin's been an improved team this year. They still got to go play the game. So Purdue's an important game. It's a very, very winnable game. It should be a comfortable 15-20, maybe even a 25-point win. But like I said, they still got to go do it, and that is the next thing to check off in terms of trying to make sure that they are a double bye at the Big Ten tournament and trying to host at the NCAA tournament.
Kyle, you look at it, there's that game, you get through it, and Michigan comes to town on Sunday. The women have done a very good job of making the most of marquee games at Carver Hawkeye. The men have not done that. Hopefully they can do that tonight against Nebraska. But the women, when it's a big game, whether it be Michigan State, Ohio State, whatever it's been, they've shown up and delivered in front of a home crowd. Michigan's the best team they've played at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Is that true? And what can we start looking ahead? Because Michigan, they just beat Michigan State by 20. They're playing at a high level. Most people thought this year that they were that second best team in the Big Ten. Sunday should be a lot of fun at Carver, but it's a really good team coming to town, isn't it?
Yeah, you look back through what Michigan's done as of late. They have, since January 1st, they lost to Washington on January 1st. Since then, they've lost 2 games. They lost by 3 to top 5, or a Vanderbilt team that was a 1 seed in the selection committee's first projection, or first top 16 reveal. And the other loss was a 3-point loss to UCLA, who was number 2 in that. So they're not only have they lost to 2 really good teams, they've lost by 3 points apiece. And now I think they came from behind a little bit in both of those. Certainly the Vanderbilt made a good run back. They've done a really good job against some really good teams of making some comebacks. UConn earlier in the year. But after that, they beat USC. They beat Indiana by 30. They beat Michigan State in overtime there in East Lansing. They managed to win it there. And what was a really good environment there. Took care of Nebraska. They beat Northwestern by 32. And then they go and they beat Michigan State. That was kind of the one that stood out the other day. Was actually yesterday or Sunday. Beat Michigan State by 21 in Ann Arbor. So they're playing some really good basketball. I think they are the second best team in the Big Ten, when they are playing at their best. And I think you're right, going back to the Carver side of it. I know Iowa lost to Minnesota, and that was, their first, home loss of the season. But even, this year, like you said, they beat Michigan State at home. They beat Ohio State at home. But you look back to, like, last year, they beat USC at home. You go back to I know it's the Caitlin Clark teams, and those teams made the national title game. But Iowa, I don't remember a time where they lost a big game at home. Yeah, they had a couple of losses at home here and there. They didn't really lose those really highly touted games at home. It seems like they always have been able to come through in those games, and that's what that game is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be a highly touted game, especially if Iowa takes care of business Purdue like they should. That's a game that if Iowa is able to win it, even with that 3-game losing streak, Iowa's not out of it for a 2 seed at the NCAA tournament. It's going to take a little bit of work. They probably do have to beat Michigan if they're going to do it. But if they do that, and then you got Illinois, that could be another solid win. They're not out of it for a 2 seed at the NCAA tournament. And that's a huge game as well for Iowa to try to get up higher in the Big Ten standings. Finishing second in the Big Ten standings is still not out of the question. So it's going to be a highly touted game. The crowd's going to it's going to be packed at Carver. Expect it to be a full. I know all the games are sold out, but I expect it actually to be every seat to be full for that game. So it's going to be a huge game. But like I said, Michigan's playing really well. But I do like where I was trending. If they go to Purdue on Thursday and take care of business, win by 20-25, like they probably should, that'll make you feel pretty good going into Sunday. But I think I don't know. Let's see what Torvik says here. I haven't looked at that either because I haven't even looked at Purdue.
I would guess Michigan by 6.5. Is that
Torvik
right?
has Iowa by 1.
Really?
Or no, Warren Nolan has Iowa by 1. If you give me 2 seconds, I can pull up what Torvik has for it. Let's see. It's at Carver, so I think that probably helps a little bit in these projections. Torvik has Iowa 79-64 at Purdue, which is kind of surprising. It's only 15. And then they have Michigan 76-73. So Torvik and Warren Nolan are split on the decision for the Michigan game, which has only happened in 2 or 3 games this year, 3 games this year where they've been split on their decision. So that tells you that it really truly is a coin flip. But after that, Torvik's got Iowa by 10.5 against Illinois at home, and then by 15 at Wisconsin to end the season. So Torvik really likes Iowa to finish out at 3-1, and they're giving Iowa a coin flip there at home against Michigan. So there's still a realistic possibility that Iowa could finish 4-0, but if Iowa goes out and finishes 3-1, they're still going to be able to accomplish all the things. They finish 3-1, they'll get a double bye at the Big Ten tournament. They finish 3-1, they will host at the NCAA tournament and have a chance to stay at that 3 seed where they're projected right now, which would be huge because we've talked about really wanting to stay away from that 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Otherwise, you have to play a 1 seed in the Sweet 16. Certainly, you got to win the games. If you're a 4 seed, you got to beat a 5 seed probably in the second round. If you're a 3 seed, you got to probably beat a pretty good 6 seed. But you talk about the Sweet 16 matchup. Iowa would much rather get to a 3. They'd love to get to a 2 as well because that makes an Elite 8 even more possible.
No, absolutely. Kyle, before I let you go, you just came back from Lincoln. Hopefully you've showered and gotten the stench of Lincoln off of you. But they've got a men's basketball team that everybody's super excited about and has a fantastic season going. They come to Carver Hawkeye for 2 games in the span of, I'm doing math in my head, but it's like 2 games in 2.5 weeks or something like that, where they'll play Iowa and Nebraska will play. Price Sanford is coming back for the first time since leaving last year, playing 2 years at Iowa. And Iowa, we talked about the Iowa women. They can check off all of these marquee victories and resume building wins. Iowa's doesn't have nearly as much of that. Just your thought, and then maybe the vibe in Lincoln when it comes to that men's basketball team. I know you were there for the women, and you weren't there for a long time, but I know they're excited, obviously, about a big game tonight between the Cornhuskers and the Hawkeyes at Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah, and Nebraska fans have every right to be incredibly excited, maybe as excited as they've ever been, because they've never won an NCAA tournament game, so they've never really they haven't ever felt success with their men's basketball program. That's a fact. So there's very, very good reason for them to be excited. They're 22-3. They are very easily having the best season in program history. So there's a lot of reason for them to be excited. But you're right. Iowa is really still looking for that marquee win. You talk about if Iowa found themselves on the bubble. I know what the wins above bubble stat says and what that means for teams making the NCAA tournament based on last year. But I mean, man, if Iowa found themselves in that group of 6 or 8 teams that they were trying to pick, if there were 8 teams left and they got to pick 4 of them, Iowa's got to win over Indiana right now on the road, and that's about it. They're 2-5 in quad 1 games. I know they're 5-1 in quad 2, but they really need one of those marquee wins. Nebraska would certainly be it. You got at Wisconsin coming up on Sunday after that. That would be a big win if they could get that. And then they still got Michigan. They still got Nebraska late in the year. So there's opportunities. But yeah, I think the Maryland game is one that hurt. You mentioned that about Iowa women's basketball going to Purdue. That the men thought they were going to go to Maryland and win easily. That was kind of the one that kind of hurt because they had won 6 in a row. It felt like, okay, go to Maryland, win. They'll go into a 7-game winning streak going into the Purdue game. And the loss to Maryland really deflated everything going into the Purdue game. And then obviously the Purdue game didn't go well. So as much excitement as there was about the 6-game winning streak, which started with that win over Indiana, now it's like, oh man, here they go. They're gonna lose to Nebraska. They're gonna lose to Wisconsin. They're gonna be on a 4-game losing streak. They're gonna miss the NCAA tournament. This is a big opportunity tonight, especially off the loss to Purdue, where the fans packed Carver and they didn't perform at their best. This is a big opportunity just a couple days later to come out and kind of right a wrong and come out and have a really good performance. And like I said, they need a marquee win. I don't know that they're going to get it tonight. Let's see what Warren Nolan says here. Warren Nolan has Nebraska by 1, so they like it to be close.
Yeah.
I mean that would really be. I would consider it to be season changing if Iowa beat Nebraska tonight, or even potentially even if they went on the road to Wisconsin and won that, because they need that type of win. And certainly the Nebraska win tonight. They win tonight. You start looking at they have to play Ohio State at home. You go to Penn State. Those are a couple of games that they get those and they got to win against Nebraska tonight. Then you feel a lot better about making the NCAA tournament. But you lose tonight. You lose at Wisconsin on Sunday. There's going to be some doubt about missing the NCAA tournament. And certainly that Maryland loss is not one that's going to look good when the committee is looking at resumes. So I think tonight is a huge opportunity. If they were able to come away with a win, it would be maybe similar to the USC win for the women's basketball team last year, where it's the one that you look back on. That might have been the one that changed the season, that type of feeling.
Kyle Huesmann joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I would agree. And the fact that, I think they need to start like the Iowa women had at Nebraska. I mean, they just need to. I was
going to cut in anyway and say that.
Yeah.
I was about to say that because I was just thinking, you look back, the other big game, Illinois at Carver, got off to a terrible start in that one.
Yeah.
Purdue didn't get off to a good start in that one. And that's hard to win when you're playing number 7 Purdue or number 10 Illinois. And you're down by 15 points in the first half, and then you got to come back from – and yeah, they did a good job against Illinois of trying to come back, and they didn't really as much against Purdue. But that is really hard when you fall behind against a top 10 team, even on your home floor, and you fall behind that far. Especially like what I said, I mentioned what Ava Hayden said. Generally, when you go on the road and you're playing a pretty solid team, the other thing that you expect is if you said like I think what Ava Hayden was getting at is if you told both teams, 2 minutes into the game there's going to be a timeout called and momentum's going to be swinging, it was going to be obviously it's the home team that probably did that, right? Iowa just hasn't done that this year at Carver. At some point, it's got to happen, right? Eventually, they've got to come out, hit a cut. Like, can Bennett knock down a couple of threes early? Can big dunk from Tavion Banks, something like that, to get the crowd going? And maybe it doesn't have to be 10-2 like it was in Lincoln yesterday for the women's team, but at least make it so that way you hit the 10-minute mark in the first half, and it's not like, man, they're already down 10, something like that. They need that. They need something to go right early in this game to make it feel like they have a chance, rather than some of these other big games at Carver where it's been like they've got to try to crawl back as the game goes on, and that's something that's really hard to do against the top teams. And
you mentioned, Kyle, it's not just been those 2 big games. They played well against UCLA to start, but I mean, you go to USC and Northwestern and Rutgers. I mean, they've started slow, often at home. Luckily, against the Northwesterns and Rutgers of the world, you can come back and win basketball games. You can't always do that. It's tough to do against the best of the best.
There's something to be said about on a night like Rutgers, like Northwestern, finding a way when you didn't have your best, because Northwestern is still good enough to win a game if you don't play at your best, and so is Rutgers. There's something to be said about them finding. We talked about with Iowa against Indiana, the women's team, and Iowa at Northwestern, when they found a way when they weren't as good. But you can't do that every game, because you can find a way to win against Northwestern when you don't have your best, and you go, they didn't have their best, but they found a way. you can't. You're not gonna beat Purdue. You're not gonna beat Illinois. You're not gonna beat Nebraska. You're not gonna beat Michigan later in the year. When you they weren't that good, but they found a way. You aren't that good, and you lost by 20. That's how it goes against those teams. So there's something to be said about finding a way against the Rutgers and the Northwestern when they weren't playing that well. But there's no finding a way to win against Nebraska.
Yeah,
you've got to be good against Nebraska tonight.
Kyle, last one for you. What did you learn about the Iowa baseball team so far this season early on? Is there one thing that you've learned, or is it just too early to learn too much at this point?
I think the pitching staff it's going to take some time, I think. There were some good performances. I think Kyle Olivo probably leads the way in terms of the performances. He was fantastic against Air Force late in that one to close out that game. But Tyler Guerin was not great in his start against Kansas State. Logan Rundy was pretty good on Saturday. Carter Wilcox pitched on Sunday. Was obviously didn't get an out and was taken out of the game. I thought there were some. Maddox Freeze was really good. Finished that game at 3 2/3 in what was a really high scoring game against Northeastern. They found a way to get 2 out of 3, and I think that's kind of the overarching feeling is that's probably what I thought they were going to do. I thought 2-1 was what was needed to at least come through the first weekend and feel like you felt good. But I think the really important thing now is they play Wisconsin Platteville today. D3 team doesn't count. I mean, it counts in the official record and everything, but it doesn't count towards anything in terms of RPI, whatever. Next week, midweek game against Wartburg, same thing, doesn't count. The week later, they play Loras for midweek, doesn't count. 3 great opportunities to throw out some of these younger pitchers in games and say, go get some outs. You're going to go walk a couple of guys. You're going to allow a few hits. They should still win all 3 games because we've seen them lose to Loras a couple of years ago. The optics of that were not they were not good. They didn't count for anything, but the optics of losing to Loras are not good. But it's an opportunity these next 3 weeks to go throw some guys out there in a lower stakes environment. It's not Kansas State on opening day who's going to make a regional. It's a lower stakes environment. Get some of those younger guys out there and let them throw some innings and get some experience. But yeah, I thought, I don't know if there's a lot to take away. I thought the offense was pretty good. They missed some opportunities with runners in scoring position, but I think the options are there. Joey Narat was phenomenal. I think he was kind of the guy that stood up to me. The Dallas Baptist transfer had 2 really, really good diving plays in the outfield. Was really good at the plate. Gabriel Mitchell was pretty good throughout the weekend. So I think the offense is fine. I think it's going to be really, really solid this season. But on the pitching staff side, it's clear that it's going to take some time. There were a couple of good performances. I think Kyle Olivo showed that if he can be that guy this season, they've got a really, really good piece in their bullpen. But I think it's going to take some time. It's going to be one of those where we got to see what happens next week. Tyler Guerin, like I said, was not great against Kansas State. But if he turns around and is good against Florida Atlantic next week, then you feel a little bit better. So I think it's going to take a couple of weeks with this pitching staff to kind of see where they're at. Who's like, I think we talked about this before the season. The first couple of weeks here, see who's maybe a little bit better than we expected, see who's kind of right around what we expected, who's, trending down from what we expected, that type of thing. I think it's going to take a few weeks to see kind of who is going to be able to fit into some spots in the rotation or fit into that Sunday spot in the rotation, and then in the bullpen, what roles are going to be filled. But like I said, 2-1 in the opening weekend. I think that's exactly what you would have hoped for. Sure, you would have wanted them to upset Kansas State, but I think 2-1 is good enough, and you kind of go from there and you move on to today against Platteville.
Kyle, you got a busy day. You got a busy week, all of those kind of things. Drive safe. I know baseball today, women's basketball availability tomorrow, the game on Thursday, another game on Sunday. Check out all Kyle's stuff at Hawkeye Report. I always read your stuff. I never read Tom's nonsense, but I always read your stuff. Kyle, be good, be safe. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Kyle Huesmann joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A big week for Iowa women's basketball, a busy week as well. A little bit about tonight as well. Tonight's a big game for the Hawkeyes. We talked all about the disappointment of Purdue. They can wash that away quickly with a victory against Nebraska tonight. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to the brand new leading scorer in Orion High School history and talk about the postseason coming up and what should be a very, very interesting and competitive 1A. All of that with Orion's Kyler Owens right after this. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. It is an awesome time of year for basketball, especially in the high school level. The postseason is here really soon. It starts for the boys in Illinois next week. It's the last week of the regular season. So many great things going on when it comes to conference races, milestones being reached all the time. Just there's a different headline every single Tuesday night, Friday night, all those kind of things. It's been a great season in Orion, and there's a new all-time leading scorer. And it's weird for me because this young man used to run around the baseball diamonds. And I used to see him, and they told me, like, hey, Kyler's pretty good at basketball. Kyler Owens is very good at basketball. He joins us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Good to see you, young man. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, of course. It's an amazing experience.
You are we'll get to Orion, the Chargers team, all that kind of stuff in a second. On Friday night, you became Orion's all-time leading scorer, like 1,806 points. First off, what was that moment like? And did you know going into the game what the situation was? Did you know you were close?
Yeah, so it was an amazing game. I actually had no idea. They actually didn't tell me at all. And so I hit a 3 in the second quarter, and then they called timeout, and I thought it was just kind of a normal timeout, and then I saw a banner and everything. And so it was an amazing experience. But yeah, I had no idea about it.
You had no clue. Who kept it from you? Well, coach, players, who knew?
I think it was the coaches, yeah. My parents knew because I think they talked to him before, but yeah, I had no idea until I hit that shot and went to the timeout.
What does it mean? What does it mean to be an all-time leading scorer anywhere? Orion, great tradition. I guess Tanner Williams was the guy you passed. I remember covering him, which shows, Kyler, how old I have officially become. But what's it like to be an all-time leading scorer at Orion High School?
Oh, it's an amazing experience. It's awesome, especially to pass a great player like Tanner Williams, and to be able to do it, and especially with the group of guys we have and the teammates, they're amazing. And so it's amazing to be able to go out there and just do it. It actually means a lot to me, and especially how hard I've worked and all that. It definitely pays off.
You did it despite missing like a month last year. I don't even think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think did you even make it back for the postseason, or I don't even think you made it back for the postseason last year. So
I missed a whole month. I ended up playing in the regional championship game, but I went without any practices or anything like that. And so I just kind of hopped right into it. But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you don't think about those things at the time, but to give away and I guess mainly there's been ups and downs. There's been, trials that you've had to go through injury wise and those kind of things. Does it mean a little extra knowing that it wasn't smooth sailing, that there was injuries and bumps along the way as well?
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially, I was really bummed to miss out a month last season, but to be able to come out and bounce back and just come back from what I was going through and have an amazing season this season, it definitely means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Kyler Owens joining us right now from off the air with Matt Randazzo from Orion High School. Kyler, you look at it and this team, your team is extremely good. Tonight, Tuesday night, you'll be playing Riverdale. With a lot on the line. A victory, you can clinch a share. With some help, maybe you win the entire conference. All those kind of things. What is games like on Tuesday night are the ones that you want to play in? What's the preparation as you get ready for a really good Riverdale team with a lot on the line?
Definitely, yeah. We have to especially step it up on defense. That's what we've been main focus on lately. Obviously, we kind of had trouble with moving the ball. I think we played him in a Christmas tournament many weeks back, but we've actually bounced back from that, beating them last time. But Riverdale's a tough team. They like to transition. So one thing we have to work on is getting back on defense for sure, because they'll transition, they'll score a lot of points, and they got the players to do it too.
You have an opportunity to do some great things this week. Next week is regionals postseason. There's a lot out there to be had. Tell me about this team at Orion. What makes it, obviously, you get some of the headlines, and rightfully so, but it's a really well-rounded team that can hurt you in a lot of ways. What is it right now about Orion basketball that has you guys playing at a good level?
I definitely think it's just everyone kind of understood their role. At the beginning, I think we were pretty young. We have some young guys. So at first, everyone wanted to score. We're focused on score. But I think midway through the season, we kind of had a moment where we noticed that everyone has to know their role and understand what we have to do to win. And so I think everyone began their focus more on winning than just going in and scoring. And that, I believe, changed a lot. And I think we've grown as a team from that, and that's why we're succeeding right now.
Kyler, what would a conference championship mean to this group? Because you look at this conference, it's not just an average conference or any other conference. You look at Sherrard does what they do, and Mercer County's a good team. We've talked about Riverdale yourselves. I mean, Rock Ridge isn't having a great year to their standard, but they're still Rock Ridge, and other schools as well. What does it mean to be in the mix in the Olympic Conference, and Three Rivers, excuse me, I went old school, Three Rivers Conference, and what would it mean to get that kind of conference championship?
It definitely means a lot, especially the last few years. Rockridge dominated the conference, and Sherrard dominated it last year. It'd be awesome, to come out here and be our turn this year and go out and get a conference championship, especially in a tough conference with a lot of good players in it.
I got to talk to you about next week. I know you got to focus on this week, so don't get too far ahead of us. But regionals are important, and you guys get a home game, and then I think you head to Bureau Valley to play a little bit. But you remember last year, and you got back for a game that you probably weren't ready for, being out for a month. How much are you enjoying being there? How much do you not take it for granted, if that makes any sense? Because this time last year, you didn't know if you were going to play or not going to play. And how excited are you to be healthy for a postseason run maybe this year?
Yes, I'm very excited to be healthy for a postseason run. And obviously, this is my last year at Orion, so it's a big year. And I think that carries a little more extra for me to go out there and get a big win and a big run for the playoffs. And so I think everyone's buying into on the team as well, and so we're all excited to go out there. And especially me, I'm very excited to go out there and give it our all and get a win.
Kyler, you didn't know about the record. They kept that from you, but they can't keep from you the fact that you are a senior and these are your lasts of everything. And can you take a second to remember that? I know it's a blur. Everything's coming fast. You have games to worry about, but have you taken a second here and there this year to be like, this is my last time doing this, or my last, it's coming to an end quick one way or the other. Are you making sure you make the most of it, I guess?
Yes, of course. It goes by, this season's went by the most fast out of them all. And so, especially the game's going quick. it's crazy. We only have one game left, obviously. But yes, I'm remembering, there's been times where I sit back and I'm like, dang, we're already we're postseason's next week. So it definitely have to sit back and remember, but it goes by fast.
I know there's basketball high school wise yet to be played. but you're going to play college basketball somewhere. What's that like for you, obviously, to get interest, to have schools kind of talking to you? I don't know if you made a decision on what's going on next year. I don't think you have. But what's that like, balancing what you're doing on the basketball court in high school and knowing that your basketball days aren't numbered? You're going to be playing basketball at some level next year.
Yeah, it's been a good experience, a fun experience, especially to be able to talk to the college coaches and be able to communicate with them. They've gave me some good advice and good opportunities. So yeah, it's actually balancing pretty well. It's actually been balancing pretty well. I've been able to obviously play basketball, Orion, but I never have felt stressed about anything yet. So it's been pretty good about just go and play the game, and colleges will come out to you and reach out to you and watch you. And so it's been a good experience, a fun experience.
Absolutely. Kyler Owens from Orion joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Tell me about this team, Kyler. And I don't mean like this guy rebounds, this guy. Tell me about this team maybe off the court a little bit. Obviously, you guys got to get along. There's got to be those chemistry, all that kind of cliches you have in sports. What kind of guys are you guys like? Obviously, you've been playing a lot of basketball together. How close are you guys? And usually winning and chemistry kind of go hand in hand. What's the off the court vibe of this team right now?
Well, it's a great experience off the court. A lot of us go out to eat, usually, especially the whole team. Usually we don't miss a single guy when we go out, so which is good because I know some teams, you have a whole bunch of different guys maybe that aren't happy with their playing time or anything like that, and they don't really care much. But this whole group of guys all care a lot about it, and so they're willing to go out there. We always hang out outside the court. We went to Topgolf a couple of times. We have a little like mini hoop basketball league we do, and so we have a lot of fun with it. And so these guys, yeah, we've all stayed really close. I think a lot of us have got closer, especially this season. But we haven't had like bumped heads, and if we ever did, we've already settled in. We're all like one, and I think everyone has a good time with each other.
I love to hear that. Kyler, are there any goofballs on this team? And I mean that in the nicest way. Who would the goofball be? Yeah, like just the guy, not in a mean way, but like always lightens the mood, always has something funny to say. There's got to be that. Is there a goofball or two or five on this team?
Yeah, I'd say a goofball, especially at practice, is Gus Larkins. He may not always get in the game as much, but he's the funniest guy, like off the court, especially at practice. He'll push you and all that. And I'd say he's a pretty funny dude. I'd say Joe Norton's pretty funny too. He's a pretty funny dude. I'd say those two are probably the biggest. They like to have some fun and they enjoy it a lot.
Look at Kyler doing an interview.
Really funny.
Kyler's doing an interview and letting people in the door at the same time. That is multitasking at its finest. Kyler Owens joining us right now. Okay, Kyler, it's some fun questions. If you could have, first off, you mentioned going to eat all the time together. Where's this place? Yeah. Where's the place to go eat? Where's the maybe victory celebration dinner after you guys win a game? Do you have a traditional place you guys go to?
Yeah, we usually go to B-Dubs. That's usually, I'd say, our place.
Okay, Kyler.
And then we went to Topgolf once.
I got to ask the B-Dubs
those are
question.
probably like our top.
Okay. When you go to B-Dubs, please tell me you don't get like barbecue or like, are you getting some spice? Are you spicy at all when it comes to your wings?
I mean, I'm actually not the biggest spice guy, but I can eat it. But it kind of depends on the day. Usually I don't usually get the spice, no.
Okay. Do you get bone-in wings or do you get boneless wings?
I'm a boneless guy. Boneless
Kyler,
is my
that's a chicken nugget. You know that, right? Like that's just a chicken nugget. You gotta be a man and get the bone-in wings.
Oh, yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, I'll eat bone-in, but boneless is usually my go-to, I'd say.
No, I'm teasing. If you could have dinner with anybody in the world, dead, alive, anything you want to do, who would you want to have a meal with and why?
I'd definitely say Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, I think he's the GOAT. And especially that starts a lot of controversy, especially with the guys especially. But I'd say Michael Jordan, definitely would love to sit down with him, talk about his mindset and just like what it takes to be a winner and all that.
I'm proud of you, Kyler, because that's the correct answer. Too many young kids say LeBron. I'm giving your dad full credit for that. He raised you correctly to know that MJ is the GOAT. So well done to Rob for doing that as well. When it comes to other sports, I know basketball is your passion. If you couldn't play basketball, it didn't exist, what would you be playing and why? Oh, come on back.
I definitely probably say golf.
Let me ask that again, just because you went away for a second. So I'll ask you again.
Oh, sorry. It kind of cut off. Sorry.
Nope, you're good. I'll ask it again. We'll cut it out. All right, Kyler. If you couldn't play basketball, if basketball didn't exist, what sport would you want to be playing? What sport would you want to play professionally? All that kind of stuff. What's the other sport for Kyler Owens?
I'd say golf. I actually got into that a couple years ago. I think it's pretty fun, especially if I got really good at it. But I'm still working at it, but definitely golf, I'd say.
Okay. Are you pretty good at it? What's a good drive? How far are you hitting a good drive?
Ooh. It's probably like, I guess I haven't really like measured it yet, but I maybe like 225 maybe.
That's okay.
Driving, not too bad. I hit it straight though.
That's the most important thing, Kyler. That's the most important thing. I love that. Are you superstitious? And if you're superstitious, what are the superstitions?
I'd say I definitely always have to pray before the game at the national anthem. I'd say that's like my main thing I usually do is definitely do that. And I always wear an arm sleeve for the game. I'd say that's probably my superstitions too. Those two superstitions are probably the biggest to me. I don't really have any other ones, but
I love it. Kyler Owens joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Just a few more before I let you go. Obviously, big games coming up, and we kind of talked about this team. What are the things that you guys know that you guys need to do in order to be successful this week, next week? What are the things that you're focusing on right now as we get close to the end of the season?
I think we're focusing a lot, especially on the defensive end, picking up more full court and adjusting whatever the offense on the other team is doing. I'd say that's our biggest thing we're working on right now, just staying disciplined on defense and not jumping on every jump shot or anything like that, just staying out of foul trouble and just staying solid on defense is definitely our thing we're main focusing on.
Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble, but one-on-one in game of basketball, are you beating your old man?
Oh, yeah. Yes, any day of the week. He's going to deny it, but any day of the week.
When did you start beating him in basketball? Was it recently? Have you been getting him for a while?
I'd say the last couple of years, I'd say he usually he definitely plays hard and all that, but I'd definitely say the last couple of years I've been beating him.
You know you just got yourself in trouble, right?
Oh yeah, I know. He's gonna be talking about this once he sees it.
Are you a better shooter than Dad still?
Yeah, I'd say I'm a better shooter.
Okay.
For 100%.
Does he got anything on you? Anything? Is he a better golfer? Is he a better golfer than you?
Yeah, he's a better golfer than me. I'll say that. Yeah,
right.
He's golfed a lot more than me. Basketball-wise, no.
We'll leave it at that, just to leave you on the plus so you don't get in too much trouble. Kyler, I appreciate it. We'll be bugging you guys. Have a great rest of the season. Do great things in the postseason. Win a regional. We'll do this again. How's that sound?
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
All right. I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. That is Kyler Owens, the all-time leading scorer at Orion High School. Big game coming up tonight for them with Riverdale, and then, of course, the postseason. Really, we talked with Nesto Hoops last week, and 1A is loaded. So many good teams in 1A, including Orion as well. Orion, Newman, you can go down the line. So it should be a really great postseason here locally for our teams as well. We got much more to get to. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. One of the best parts of getting to do what I did for nearly a quarter of a century was covering young people, especially in high school, and then watching them go on and do great things. And see, people would think, oh, it's because you get to know professionals and all those kind of things. And it's not, because what it is you get to know young people and you get to see how awesome they are. And then you get to follow their careers and catch up with them from time to time when they don't forget about us little guys here in the Quad Cities. Tori Thomas is one of those young ladies, former Alleman standout, former Illinois standout, pole vaulter. How are you, young lady? Great to see you.
Good. I'm doing great.
It's a very busy time for you. I want to talk about that in a second, but you are a professional now. And I know that you're still, obviously, there's a lot of goals I want to get to you with, but your love of pole vaulting, where did it come from? I know we've talked about this in the past, but for anyone who doesn't know maybe a lot about yourself, where did that love of pole vaulting, where did the getting a huge pole, sticking in the ground and jumping over things, where did that love come from?
So I started about the age of 7. Both my parents were pole vaulters. I grew up as kind of the track kid running around the track, being babysat by every one of my dad's athletes. But I really gained to love it. Maybe freshman year of high school, I really saw the improvement. I was competitive, and I was also in so many sports, and being able to meet so many people throughout all of the sports I've done, and then knowing how just daring pole vaulting is. I just love the excitement of it. It was something new. And I really gained to love it. And then I saw myself inspiring others to do it. And that's what kind of motivated me to continue doing it.
Tori, kind of talk about that, because you sit there. I go to Pep School all the time, and I see young people, young track athletes trying the different sport of pole vaulting. You inspire others. What does it mean to be someone here from the Quad Cities, inspiring in a sport that maybe not a lot of people know about, but enjoy doing once they do it?
Yeah, it was such a mentally hard and just hard sport. And I think learning how to work with that, be competitive, make it fun, don't overthink it. I've been through everything. I've been through a lot of rough times, the best times ever with it. I've made so many friends through it. And I think just showing young athletes who want to become where I'm at now, kind of that path. So I think being able to relate to them and show them, I started at this age too. I was vaulting at this age. I've done this before, and I probably get there and easier and more fun. You just got to work with it now. I think that's been my favorite way of kind of motivating myself in the sport, to be able to show these athletes that anything is possible if you just kind of have fun with it too.
No, absolutely. One of the things I love about Tori is her smile while she's doing it is fantastic. Talk to me, catch everybody up. Awesome career at Illinois. I want to say like 10 records at Illinois, two-time Big Ten champ, I'm pretty sure. Kind of a U.S. champ, I think, as well. Kind of catch everybody up. You're pro now, which is crazy because you almost seem like you're pro already. What's it like right now? And I know that word Olympics is out there, Olympic hopeful, all those kind of things. What are you doing now after Illinois as you prepare for life after and continuing doing great things in pole vaulting?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. I can't sugarcoat that, but it's a lot of fun, kind of being able to make my own schedule, go where I want. And I've been blessed to have my coach still with me in Champaign, Illinois. And so I can train under him as well. And then I'm also enjoying being home in the Quad Cities, which is really nice too. So kind of getting used to the back and forth, which is going home, going back to Illinois. But I mean, I enjoy it a lot. I mean, I'm taking advantage of what I have, and I'm very thankful for it. And I'm just getting into a lot of these small meets, and some of them are a lot larger meets, and getting used to that professional era of kind of just asking questions to a lot of these professional athletes who have been here for over 10 years. And I'm still learning now, and I'm enjoying this process.
No, I love it. I know we talked before we started. You went to France recently, a great opportunity there, but it was one of those things with like, hey, can you be here in like 2 days or whatever it was? It was last minute kind of stuff. Kind of talk about that experience, kind of getting on a bigger stage. And we mentioned that word Olympics. We'll talk more about that in a second. But those type of experiences, I'm sure what you want to help propel you to where you want to go.
Yeah, so a lot of professional stuff, it's a lot of last second. If someone drops out of a meet, I mean, you got to be ready to hop in for them. And that's what my case was for France. And a lot of these other meets, I went to another meet in New York, and one of the best vaulters kind of dropped out of it because either she needed the recovery time or just, a weekend off. And so last minute, I was asked, hey, do you want to hop in for her? And I can't say no to going to New York or France. So they booked my ticket. I got on a plane, and yeah, I mean, it was an exciting experience. And I love the spontaneous like events that happen in this sport.
No, it's fantastic. Tori, I mentioned Olympics, and you look Olympic hopeful. I want to say you're ranked right now, and this was, I don't know if they're new rankings, so correct me if I'm wrong, 18th-ish in the U.S., 49th-ish in the world. Obviously, the Olympics is a goal of every young athlete, especially yourself. When I start talking Olympics and those kind of things, you get excited. Like, what is your thought process? Obviously, that's a huge goal. How do you get there, and how do you process the reality that's there in the future for you?
I mean, I remember in second grade writing down, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I wanted to go to the Olympics for soccer. I also put track too. I mean, I've always wanted to go. I didn't care what sport I wanted to go in. And now that over the years, I've focused a lot more on pole vault, and kind of looking back at it now, I can't believe how close I am even talking about it now, and that it's becoming more and more of a reality each year. And being able to see that progress, even though it's a slow progress in the moment, but looking back, I mean, I'm this far. I mean, why stop now?
Exactly. Where do you feel like your I want to say game, but I guess that's what it is. Where do you feel like your game's at, your jumping's at right now? What's doing well? What do you got to work on? I know you're confident, and I think you're over 15 feet at times. Where can your jumping go, and how are you feeling about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been through my ups and downs, trying new brands of poles and going to different meets, different techniques in my pole vault. And so, I mean, I've had my little bumps and shakes, but I knew I was going to get over them. And even through this season, I mean, I had a couple of them, but I knew, I'm like, when I hit this mark, I'm going to hit it very well. And so right now it's kind of the getting used to the professional season. And I think we're hitting a good kind of curving point where it's going to go just straight up. And I think now, I mean, before USA is coming up in 2 weeks, we're just kind of prepping for that. And so far, it's going really well. I mean, I was just in Chicago the other day, and I'm seeing the progress now, and I'm getting excited already for these next couple weeks.
I love it. Tori, what's the best part of pole vaulting? And I don't mean that in like the preparation, the practice. I want you to in the jump itself. I'm not talking about the preparation. When you grab the pole, is it the height, the top? Is it the soaring? I'm saying this as dumb as possible. I don't like to leave the ground. I'm old and fat. Is it the landing? What's your favorite part of just simply a jump? Take us through a normal jump for you every day.
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned how it is in a meet. So before I get on the runway, I gotta grab the right pole. I love my chalk. I love putting a lot of chalk on. When I get on the runway, I think my favorite part is just kind of hearing the crowd on the side of me. That's what helps my adrenaline. I mean, a lot of athletes, if you haven't heard before, they get a clap going before. It's the adrenaline that like pumps everyone up. And I think that's my favorite part, where I'm like, okay, everyone's watching, I got to do well. And so I think that knowing that this many people are supporting me right now, and imagine if everyone who can come would be here. I mean, that's probably my favorite part, is just hearing everyone cheer. And the vault happens so fast that by the time I land on the mat, I have to make sure the bar is still up. But the only way I know that it's still up is if I hear everyone cheering. I hear the oohs and the ahs, and I think that's my favorite part, is just everyone around it. The vault happens so fast that it goes by. I don't even remember it very well. As amazing as it is falling and knowing that, like, breath of fresh air of when you just clear the bar and you kind of see it landing, and then everyone else cheering, it's just amazing being up there on that stage.
A tough question. What's your favorite jump ever? I go back to like remembering you in high school and jumping for the Pioneers, and I'm a Pioneer, and the successes you had in high school, college, the U.S. Championships, those kind of. Is it like, I have 4 kids, and it's like, who's your favorite kid? Is it? And I'm like, it's supposed to be a hard question. Is it a hard question? Is there one that stands out over the rest, or is it a bunch of them in there together?
I mean, there's a bunch. I've been doing this for almost 16 years. I have so many in and outs. I think my favorite ones are when I have great competition and I'm almost beating someone at their best, and knowing that I was the underdog kind of coming into it.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I want to be going into these next couple meets at USA's and Olympics. I'm going to be that underdog, but imagine the underdog kind of coming up and winning those meets.
So, Tori, you mentioned being back here in the Quad Cities a little more often. I got to talk to you about that because you feel the support from home. You are an Alleman Pioneer, all of those kind of things. What's it? Can you, and I talked to this about this to a lot of people, whether you're an Alleman kid or a Moline Rock, when you go to a bigger stage and you're from the Quad Cities, you just become everybody's. Like, you become a Quad Citian, if that makes any sense. Can you feel the support, not just from your Alleman family and the Pioneers, but just from the Quad Cities in general? Do you feel the love and support you get from the area?
Of course, yes, every day. I mean, the messages I get, and just walking around a store and someone coming up to me and saying, "Hi, oh, you're Tori Thomas." I mean, being able to be known like that is a huge motivation. And I definitely do feel the love for myself and the sport and what I do.
That's awesome. Tori, being back at home, I got to ask some fun questions for you. When you're back at home now, maybe a little more often than before, are there certain places that like I need to go here and eat? Like, what are your favorite Quad City places to eat or food when it comes back to the Quad Cities? And do you like, I saw you the other day, and like, here I am, I think I was on an elliptical and I'm a fat slob sweating away, and like I go eat awful. Do you let yourself, like, what's a cheat meal, or what's a celebratory meal for you? So talk food with me. Places here, and what do you love to eat?
I mean, in general, my family's starting to love Texas Roadhouse. I know that's in a lot of places, but when I come here, I mean, I always love a home cooked meal. I haven't been here yet because I've only been back home for a day or two. I love Hungry Hobo, Whitey's and Country Style for sure. And there's so many new places since I've been gone, coming back. I've tried Enzo's Chicken yesterday for the first time.
Did you like it?
There's so many new places. I did.
I did too.
I did.
We tried it last weekend. Al's Burgers, Tori. Al's Burgers.
I've been there too.
Do you like it?
Yeah, with my grandma. It is good. Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, good. And Hungry Hobo is a sponsor of the show. So thank you for saying Hungry Hobo. That makes my sponsors happy. So thank you for that as well. Tori, if you could have a meal with anybody in the world, sit down and have a conversation, a meal with anybody, who would it be and why?
I would probably say Kevin Hart. I think the conversation would be very just comedic. It'd be funny. I feel like I can bounce off kind of his humor too, and it'd be a great conversation. I mean, him and The Rock kind of talk back and forth. I would love to have a dinner with like both of them and just seeing them go at it back and forth.
There you go. Your own little private show. Tori, you mentioned other sports. If you weren't pole vaulting and you could be a professional in another sport, whether you're good at it or not, this is make believe. We can do whatever. What sport would you want to be playing professionally right now, and why?
I would love to play professional in soccer. I grew up loving soccer. It's not out of my path. I mean, I play for fun. I think the other thing was also flag football. My dad coached flag football for a little while, and I mean, I loved running around. I mean, just being able to try to just swerve in between in and out of people. Those two sports I would definitely want to go far in if I wasn't doing pole vault.
I love it. Superstitions. I'm a superstitious guy myself, and I feel like anybody. There's so many things you could be superstitious about. Are there any superstitions when Tori Thomas gets ready to jump? Any pole vaulting superstitions?
I kind of stay away from those. I mean, if some people say I need to eat this, and if I don't have it, I'm gonna go crazy. I kind of stay away from those because if I don't have it, I'm okay without it. The only superstition I would mention is, I mean, sometimes it's always something bad happens before me. Whether I have a not so good practice before, I'm like, okay, I got all my bad jumps out of the way. If I have a good practice, I'm kind of like, uh-oh, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I gained something from it for
Sure.
this meet. So I wouldn't say this is superstition, but I have my like little, okay, let's make sure this practice is good, or if it's bad, that's okay.
Yeah. You mentioned mom and dad. And I see dad all the time. And you mentioned
Mhm.
they did it, and so obviously there's that connection. I get that, but they're your biggest fans. What have they meant
Oh, yeah.
to you and your journey? And pole vaulting is kind of a duh question. It's nice when dad knows what the heck he's talking about. That helps. But besides just the sport itself, what is that relationship and they meant to you?
I mean, it's great. They've been a huge support in my career in every sport I've been involved in, and nothing was like forced into the sport. I mean, I did soccer for so long, and as much as it took away from a lot of pole vault practices and a lot of just other events, I mean, they knew I was gaining friends. They knew I was having fun with it and that I wanted to go far in just any sport. So they've been a huge inspiration in my career because they did the same thing before. And same with my little sister. I mean, she's not a pole vaulter, but she was so passionate with basketball. She went very far with it. And now she's a nursing major and she's so competitive in her studies right now. And I know she's going to go far in it. I mean, my whole family being competitive just in every kind of situation possible has been amazing. And I think that's what's gotten us far in life.
Yeah, you mentioned my next question. And then you have such a sweet, you're sweet, smiling all the time, but you're competitive. Like, and you would say, like, what makes you so competitive? You talk about mom, but how competitive do you get? Because, like I said, you're always sweet and smiling and everything like that, but you're a competitive human being, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, every game we play, board game, cards, kind of walking on the street, first one to the post. I mean, everything's a competition, and it's just a fun competition. I mean, they're everywhere. Like everywhere you go, first one upstairs, or first one to give grandma a hug, or just every little thing we make it competitive, but it's fun. And I think that's what helps translate to our sport and our studies and just kind of life, kind of in general, but making it fun, of course.
I love it. Tori Thomas joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Last one for you. You are a professional now. To be able to support you, to be able to sponsor you, those kind of things. Before the interview, I went to toriannathomas.com and learn more. Kind of talk about how people can learn more about yourself, your journey, and then give back as well and support. Like the support from the Quad Cities we've already talked about has been amazing, but for some people that don't know what's going on and they don't want to be the last, hey, in a couple of years that want to be like watching you in the Olympics going, I wish I knew. Well, let's let them know now how to maybe support and sponsor you along the way.
Yeah, of course. So recently, this past year, I've been working with a lot of people, and I have this website out. It's called toriannathomas.com, TorianaThomas.com. And you just look that up, and it shows a whole big picture of myself vaulting. and it shows different kind of videos of me vaulting, stories, and if you scroll a little down a little more, you'll see some of my upcoming meets that I have been to and that I'm going to. And so try to keep updated with the live links, so you're more than welcome to join it, see the results at the end, what time it is. And I do a lot of my social media as well, as best as possible, to kind of keep updated when I have a meet the next day. Then yeah, scroll a little more and then you can sign up to kind of train with me. I mean, you'll get some updates, and it's a work in progress, but sign up for that and get on the email list, and updates will come through a lot. And throughout there, I'll have some messages where you can message me questions and ask about my career too, and I'm very open to anything.
Yeah, it's awesome. I want to say there's over 10,000 people training with you right now, which is a cool thing, something like that. So I need to start training with Tori as well. Tori, I always appreciate our conversations. I love seeing you when I get to see you. We're going to be watching. We're going to be rooting for you, all those kind of things. And everything we do right now in this interview will link, of course, to TorianaThomas.com, and you guys can check that out as well. Tori, keep doing great things. Stay healthy. We'll catch up with you again real soon. Thanks. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
All right. That is Tori Thomas, former Alleman Pioneer, former Fighting Illini, now professional pole vaulter, Olympic hopeful. I think that's the best thing you can say about her, because that is right around the corner, Olympic hopeful, and we will be cheering and rooting for her every step of the way as well. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, February 17th. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. We had a 3-day weekend here at the Randazzo household. So getting a little late start to the week, but a fun start to the week nonetheless. Hopefully everyone enjoyed Valentine's Day and all those kind of things. It's a busy week for me because Valentine's Day was Saturday, and then my lovely wife's birthday is on Thursday, so I have to keep that in mind. How old is my lovely wife? Nope, not going to get me in trouble. I'm not going to tell you that. She doesn't look a day past 22 is what I'll say. So we will have a lot more this week on the show when it comes to basketball season. Such a fun time of year. If you're late catching up with the show, earlier in the show we talked with Kyle Huesmann. Iowa women with a big victory this past week on Monday, yesterday, at Nebraska. A busy week for them. Purdue Thursday, Michigan, huge showdown, Carver Hawkeye Arena on Sunday. So go check out what Kyle had to say. Also, we talked with Kyler Owens, the now all-time leading scorer in Orion history. The Chargers in 1A, they're loaded. Bunch of good teams in 1A. So a big game for them tonight. They play Riverdale tonight. They can clinch a share of the track championship. Sherrard and Mercer County playing as well. So great time of year. Next week, the postseason begins for them, but go check out Kyler's interview as well. And then we just caught up with Tori Thomas, outstanding young lady, going to do huge things. An Olympic hopeful in pole vault, state champion, Big Ten champion, U.S. champion, all those kind of things. So go check out her website, torianathomas.com. Go check that out and learn more about her as well. So it's been a jam-packed show. Our poll question for today is kind of looking ahead, me being a good Catholic boy, to Ash Wednesday tomorrow and then Lent in general. What's the best fish sandwich? I guess fast food wide, but you can tell me in the Quad Cities too. I linked 4 choices: Culver's, which is winning easily right now; Arby's, which I've gotten a comment about Arby's as well. What else did I put up there? McDonald's, I think Wendy's as well. But whatever it is, tell me about it. I'm never like fish sandwiches until Lent, and then I'm like, I'm all in. So go help me out. I will be at Long John Silver's, which someone else was surprised about in the comments. Yes, there is a Long John Silver's still, and it's very, very good. I just only eat there once a year. The first Friday of Lent, I eat there for lunch, and then that's it, because it's delicious, but I walk out of there feeling like I need to go to the gym for the next 6 hours. So we will be there, or I will be there on Friday after the show. But weigh in on the poll question as well. Big week of college hoops. Tonight, it's a blackout at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Iowa, Nebraska. We'll break it down tomorrow, talk all about it. Iowa needs to get back on track. They've lost 2 straight. They get a great opportunity to pick up a signature victory against the Cornhuskers. Arguably, and it's not even arguably, Nebraska enjoying their best season in school history. Price Sanford coming back to Carver Hawkeye Arena, this time as a Nebraska player. Aaron White, former Hawkeye Aaron White, will be back at Carver Hawkeye Arena this week as well. Or for tonight's game as well. So keys for me, Iowa has to get off to a fast start. They cannot spot teams 6, 7, 10 points a game. And especially good teams, Illinois and Purdue, both those games, they spotted really, really good basketball teams, double-figure leads. You're not going to come back and catch up. So, and everyone looking at the offense, I'm intrigued with the defense. We talked about it. The defense has not been very good, and it's per month getting worse. So I'm interested on the defensive end of things. And they just got to hit shots. I mean, Iowa is due for a 12 of 20 game from 3, or, 13 to 22 from 3. So if they can get that going, start fast, it could be a good night at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Again, 8 o'clock start. We'll recap it all, talk all about it tomorrow on the show as well. We talked about Iowa State. We'll have Jake Bren tomorrow. That should be a bunch of fun. And then Illinois now goes out west. They have a game Wednesday night, 9 o'clock against USC, and then a Saturday night showdown with UCLA out in California as well. So we'll talk all about that. Regionals going on for the women or the ladies, the girls in Illinois. We'll keep you updated on all of those kind of things. Postseason starting in Iowa as well. So a great week, a great fun time of season, or time of year, I should say, and we'll keep you informed and entertained right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I want to thank you guys for watching today's show. We greatly appreciate it. We want to thank our sponsors as well, and we'll be back with a brand new episode. It's already Wednesday tomorrow. That's the beauty part of taking a day off to start the week. It's already hump day tomorrow. Well, we got a lot to get to. You'll see it right here on OTA. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.